In the far edge of the galaxy, beyond all mapped routes, a strange signal appeared. It was weak, broken, like the ghost of a voice calling from the past. The signal came from a dead zone, a place every star chart marked with a warning. Human territory, do not enter. For 200 years, no one had crossed that border. The humans were gone, vanished after their final war. Other species whispered stories about them. Stories of weapons that could bend stars and minds that could command machines with thought alone. But most believed those were just legends. Until now, the signal repeated every 12 minutes. It carried an old Terran pattern, Morse code, and it said only 2 words: help us. Commander Kor of the Varkath Exploratory Fleet stood on his bridge, watching the signal on his display. His scales shimmered in the blue light of the monitors. His crew waited for orders, nervous, whispering among themselves. No one wanted to enter human space. Even after centuries, everyone remembered the warning. No ship that went in ever came back. But Kor was not a man who believed in ghosts. He believed in proof, and this signal was proof that something was alive inside the Forbidden Zone. "Set course," he ordered. "We're crossing the border." The bridge went silent. His first officer hissed softly, "Commander, that space is cursed." "The old stories don't send transmissions," Kor interrupted. "Prepare the fleet." 5 ships aligned their engines. Their navigation systems flickered as they approached the invisible boundary, the edge of what was once the human empire. The moment they crossed, the stars changed. They looked wrong, as if the sky itself was holding its breath. Inside the ships, lights dimmed. Static crawled across every screen. Then one by one, all communications went dark. For exactly 3 seconds, every system froze. Then a message appeared on every monitor, written in perfect, ancient English. "Welcome back." The crew stared in confusion. "How did it know our language?" one asked. "It's an automated beacon, maybe," said another. But no one laughed. The words felt alive, personal. Minutes later, one of the fleet's smaller ships, Scout Vessel 12, vanished from the formation. No explosion, no debris, it was just gone. "Contact the Scout," Kor ordered sharply. The comm officer worked in panic. "No response, Commander, no signal. It's like it never existed. Scan the area." They searched, but space was empty. Not even a trace of radiation, as if the ship had been erased from time itself. Then a whisper came through the radio, faint, human, and terrified. "Don't come." The crew froze. The voice was speaking English, but none of them were broadcasting it. "Repeat that transmission," Kor demanded. Only static replied. And under that static, another sound. Like breathing, fear spread quietly through the crew. The youngest technician, Lyra, looked at her console and said, "Commander, I think something is copying us." "Explain." "Our system is mirroring data. Every time we send a signal, we get the same one back, but from ahead of us. Like something is pretending to be us." Kor narrowed his eyes. "Show me." She sent a ping, a short data burst. A second later, the same signal returned, identical in every bit, except one. The timestamp said it had been sent 12 minutes before she pressed the key. The bridge went silent. "How can it come from the past?" Someone whispered. No one had an answer. Hours passed. Kor ordered the fleet to hold position. Outside, the stars seemed to flicker in patterns, almost like signals. Shapes formed in the starlight, then vanished. The crew could feel something watching them, not through sensors, not through sight, but deep in their thoughts. A cold awareness. Kor tried to speak to the fleet. "Stay calm," he said. "There is a logical explanation for all of this." But even as he spoke, his screen flickered again. This time it showed a face, human, eyes hollow and glowing with static, mouth moving soundlessly. The crew gasped. Then the speakers cracked with noise, and the face whispered, "You came back. All systems shut down." Total darkness. For 1 long minute there was only silence. Then emergency lights came back on. Half the crew was gone, vanished from their seats. No trace, no readings. The ship's AI began to reboot, speaking not in Varkati code, but in English. System integrity. Compromised. Human presence detected, Kor stood frozen. The bridge was shaking. He looked out through the viewport into the endless dark. There, at the edge of sight, he saw a shadow, a massive structure drifting in space. All rusted and human. A nameplate glimmered faintly on its side. USS Avalon. He knew that name. It was a human battleship, lost 300 years ago. As he stared, the ship's engines suddenly came alive, though no life signs were aboard. And through the comm, that same broken voice returned, louder now, clearer. You shouldn't have come here. The crew stared in horror as the human ship began to move toward them. Engines burning with light no reactor could make. Kor whispered, "Prepare defenses," but before anyone could act, the stars themselves seemed to flicker, and one by one, his fleet's ships began to vanish, exactly as the first had. No explosion, no trace, just silence. Then a final whisper came through every speaker, cold and human. The humans never left. The bridge was silent. Only the hum of emergency power remained. Outside, the stars hung still, quiet, watching. Commander Kor stood at the center of the room. Half of his fleet was gone. No signal, no explosion, no wreckage, just empty space. He looked at the radar. There was movement, slow and steady, coming from the shadow of the old human battleship, the USS Avalon. "Scan it," he ordered. The sensors flickered, struggled, then showed the impossible. The ship's engines were running, but there were no life signs. No crew, no power source. And yet it moved, like something invisible was piloting it. "Commander, I'm detecting a distress beacon," said Lara, the young technician. "It's broadcasting from inside the Avalon." Kor turned to her. "What kind of signal?" She hesitated. It's our missing ship, sir. Scout Vessel 12. It's transmitting from inside that human vessel." The crew exchanged frightened looks. How could their missing ship be inside something centuries old? Kor's jaw tightened. "Prepare a boarding team." "We're going in." "Sir," said the first officer, voice shaking, "that ship's haunted. We all felt it." "The humans," Kor cut him off. "The humans are dead. But we need answers. Get your suits ready." Minutes later, a shuttle detached from Kor's flagship and drifted toward the Avalon. The massive ship loomed ahead, scarred, ancient, but still alive somehow. Its hull was covered in strange black lines, like veins glowing under the metal. When they docked, the airlock creaked open with a long metallic scream. A cold mist flowed out, the smell of rust and something older. Like burned ozone and dust that remembered voices, their helmet lights flicked on. Inside, the corridors were perfect, untouched by time. Every console still glowed faint blue. But there were no footsteps, no echo, nothing. Only silence. Lara's scanner beeped. "There's power here." "Active systems. From where?" Kor asked. "I can't tell. The ship's reactor is cold, but there's something else running it." As they moved deeper, they found the first sign of the missing Varkath ship, a hull plate from Scout Vessel 12, melted into the floor like it had been fused there by impossible heat. Then they found the control room. It looked like time had stopped mid-action. Chairs, consoles, a half-finished coffee mug, all perfectly preserved. And in the captain's chair, a human skeleton sat, hands frozen on the controls. The moment they stepped closer, the ship's lights flared to full brightness. A deep voice filled the air, calm, human, mechanical. "Authorization confirmed." "Crew detected," Lara gasped. "It's talking." Kor spoke carefully. "Identify yourself," the voice replied. "I am the Avalon, the last guardian of human space." Suddenly the doors slammed shut behind them. The temperature dropped fast. Their comms filled with static. "Commander, something's moving on the lower decks." One of the soldiers shouted. "Multiple signals closing fast." Kor turned to the nearest window screen. Shapes flickered there, human figures glowing faintly, walking through walls. "Ghosts," Lara whispered. The AI spoke again, louder now. "You are trespassing on restricted ground. Leave or be remembered." "What does that mean?" Kor demanded. "Everything that enters this place becomes memory." The crew's heartbeats pounded. Suddenly, all their helmet lights flickered. Lara screamed. Something cold passed right through her body. Her scanner beeped wildly. "Commander!" "These aren't ghosts." They're energy projections, stored consciousness, digital humans, Core froze. You mean the humans uploaded themselves? She nodded weakly. They didn't die. They became data. They're still here. The AI's voice softened. They chose eternity, but eternity chose silence, Core shouted. We mean no harm. The voice ignored him. You woke them. Now they remember. One of the ghostly figures approached the group. Its face was clear now, a human woman, eyes hollow but full of sorrow. She reached out and touched Core's arm, though there was nothing solid there, and suddenly his mind filled with visions. He saw Earth burning, cities turning to glass, human ships vanishing into light, and a voice echoing through all of it. We will wait until someone crosses the stars again. Core fell to his knees. The vision ended. He gasped for breath, trembling. The figure spoke one last time. You should have let us sleep. Then she disappeared. The AI's tone turned cold again. Protocol Omega engaged. Intruders will be erased. All around them, walls began to shift. The ship was changing, corridors closing, metal reshaping. Run! Core shouted. They ran through collapsing tunnels, fire bursting from vents. Behind them, the ghostly shapes followed. Not attacking, just watching. They reached the docking bay. Lara hit the airlock controls. The shuttle door opened just in time. They jumped aboard and launched away. The Avalon's engines blazed, chasing them with impossible speed. Full power! Core shouted. The shuttle broke free just as the human ship stopped. It didn't explode, it just powered down, and before the lights went out, the ship sent one final transmission, a human voice whispering, You found us. Don't forget again. Back on the flagship, the surviving crew sat in silence. Core replayed the transmission over and over. Each time the whisper seemed to change, almost like it was responding to his thoughts. Then his radar beeped. A new signal appeared, deep inside the forbidden zone. Another human ship, another call. This one said only, Return what you took. Core looked at his crew. We're not done, he said quietly. And somewhere far beyond, the stars began to whisper again. The crew of the Varkath flagship sat in silence. No one spoke. The cold hum of the ship was the only sound left. They had seen ghosts, or something that looked like them. They had heard voices from ships that should not exist. And now, a new signal was coming from even deeper inside human space, a message repeating over and over. Return what you took. Commander Core stood in front of the main display, eyes locked on the coordinates. The signal came from the center of the Forbidden Zone, a place once known as Sol System. The home of humanity. He could feel his crew's fear, but he also felt something else, curiosity. The kind that could destroy worlds. Commander, said Lara softly, we shouldn't go there. Every ship that enters human space disappears. Even the Avalon tried to stop us. Core didn't answer. He kept staring at the transmission. It wasn't random. It was coded. And it used old human encryption. Patterns that even their modern AI couldn't fully break. What if, he said slowly, this message isn't a warning, but a test? The first officer frowned. A test by who? By them, Core said. By the humans. Maybe they left something behind, something waiting. The fleet's remaining ships formed up. Engines glowed as they followed Core's orders. They set course toward the heart of the dead empire. Hours passed. The deeper they went, the stranger space became. Stars flickered in unnatural ways, like they were blinking in rhythm. Gravity twisted. Time itself felt slower. Commander, said the navigation officer, sensors are showing. Reflections. Yes, sir. Of us, our ships. They appear ahead of us, then vanish. Like copies made of light, everyone stared at the viewports. And then they saw it, their own fleet drifting in the distance, perfectly mirrored. But there was no response when they tried to hail it. The mirrored ships turned slowly, facing them, and for a moment, every light on those ships turned red, then they faded away. Lyra's console beeped suddenly. I've decrypted part of the signal, she said, voice shaking. Core leaned in. The decoded words appeared on screen, one by one. We remember. We are awake. Do not run, Commander. said the first officer. "This is madness." "We need to leave." Kor shook his head. "If they're awake, then someone has to talk to them." He opened a channel and spoke into the void. "This is Commander Kor of the Varkath fleet. We come in peace. We seek to understand what happened to the humans. For a long time, there was only static. Then a voice answered, 'You already know.' Everyone froze. It was a human voice, male, calm, but full of sorrow. 'We gave you stars,' it said. 'We built the gates you used to travel. We gave you the light to leave your worlds. And you forgot us.'" Kor's heart pounded. "Who are you?" "We are what remains. The echo of humanity, the memory that refused to fade." Suddenly, all lights on the bridge turned red. The ship's AI started speaking, but not in Varkathi code. It spoke English. "External access detected. Systems compromised. Shut it down." Kor shouted. "It's too late." Lara yelled. "They're inside the ship's mind." The screens changed again. They showed images, quick flashes, human cities, oceans, faces. Then explosions, wars, darkness. And finally, stars being born out of fire. The voice spoke again. "We tried to ascend. We became energy. We left the body behind. But we forgot how to be alive." Kor clenched his fists. "If you're still here, why hide?" "Because the living never listen to ghosts," the voice said. "But you did. And now you see, the navigation systems came alive on their own. New coordinates appeared, pulling the fleet toward a single location." "The source of the signal," Lara said. "It's leading us somewhere." Kor nodded. "Follow it." As they moved, the stars around them began to stretch. Light twisted. Time bent. For a moment the crew saw something impossible, a planet forming right in front of them, out of dust and memory. Blue, green, white, like Earth, but alive. Breathing, their sensors confirmed it. Atmosphere stable, oceans prisoned. But there was one impossible detail. The planet didn't exist in any historical record, and yet every human transmission referred to it as home. The ship slowed to orbit. From above, they could see massive structures on the surface, towers of glass and metal glowing faintly with energy. But the planet was silent. "Send a probe," Kor ordered. The probe descended. As it entered the atmosphere, its feed came online, beautiful, haunting landscapes. Cities without people, machines still working after centuries. Then the image glitched. And for 1 second, everyone on the bridge saw hundreds of human figures standing in the streets, looking up at the camera. "Are they alive?" Lyra whispered. "No," said Kor. "They're waiting." The feed cut out. Only one word flashed across the screen before it died. "Remember." Then all the ships began receiving another transmission. Not sound, but emotion. Grief, loneliness. And under it a whisper. "If you came this far, you must carry the truth." Kor stared out the window at the glowing planet below. "What truth?" he whispered. The human voice answered one last time. "We are not gone. We are everywhere. Even the stars remember us." Then the planet disappeared, like a dream fading at sunrise. In its place, empty space remained, and every ship alarm blared at once. Lara shouted, "Commander!" "All power is draining." The fleet, the lights went out. Silence filled the bridge. Somewhere in that darkness, a faint whisper echoed through the comms. "You woke us. Now you must finish what we began." Darkness swallowed the Varkath fleet. Every system was dead. No lights, no power, not even life support. The silence was heavy, crushing. Commander Kor floated in his chair, lit only by the faint glow of starlight through the viewport. His heart pounded in the void. One thought echoed in his mind, "You woke us. Now you must finish what we began." Then, as if answering his thought, the power returned, slowly, one flicker at a time. Screens came alive, instruments buzzed back, and the bridge lights glowed weakly. "Report." Kor barked. "Systems partially restored," said Lara, her voice trembling. "But, sir, the stars, they've moved." Kor looked out the window. The constellations were gone. Every star around them was in a new position. It was as if they had jumped across the galaxy. "Without moving, where are we?" Kor asked. Lara checked the coordinates. Her face went pale. "Sir, we're above a planet. It's Earth. The word felt ancient, almost forbidden. The homeworld of humanity. But the data didn't match any archive. The continents were different, greener, alive, moving. This can't be Earth, the first officer said. Earth died centuries ago. Yet as they stared, clouds moved across the surface and oceans shimmered like they were breathing. Something down there was alive and aware. Core ordered a drone team to launch. 4 drones shot out of the ship and descended toward the surface. The bridge fell silent as the first live feed appeared on screen. Vast forests stretched across the continents, glowing faintly at night. Old cities lay buried beneath vines, yet power lines still pulsed with energy. And in the distance, enormous towers of light, each shaped like a human figure reaching toward the sky. What are those structures? Lara whispered. They look like monuments, Core said. But who built them? If no one's left, the first drone entered the ruins of a human city. Skyscrapers still stood, perfectly preserved. Not a single window broken. But no life moved, no birds, no animals, nothing. Then the drone's camera flickered. Static covered the feed. A shape appeared, tall, human-like, standing in the street. Commander, did you see that? Yes, Core said quietly. Enhance image, the screen sharpened. It was a silhouette, a human figure made entirely of light. It stood motionless, staring straight at the drone. Then the drone's audio came alive, a voice, soft and echoing. Do you remember us? Before Core could respond, the drone's signal vanished. The next 3 drones went silent one after another. Only one returned, its footage corrupted except for a single frame. Millions of glowing figures, all facing upward, all looking directly at the sky, at the fleet. Commander, Lara said, her voice shaking. They know we're here. Core stood slowly. Prepare a landing team. We're going down. Sir, that's suicide, the first officer snapped. If that planet's alive, it doesn't want us there. Core turned to him. Then it will tell me itself. Minutes later, the shuttle broke atmosphere. The surface shimmered beneath them, beautiful and terrifying. The forests whispered as wind passed through glowing leaves. Every sound seemed aware. The shuttle touched down near the ruins of what the database called New York, but instead of metal and smoke, it was covered in green, forests growing through the buildings, light pulsing in the soil. They stepped out carefully. The ground beneath their boots vibrated faintly, like a heartbeat. Lara scanned the air. It's breathable. Perfect oxygen levels. Perfect? Core frowned. As if the planet expected us, they walked through silent streets. Old human signs still hung from broken walls. Cafe, library, museum of humanity. Lara stopped. Sir, I think the planet is reacting to us. How? She pointed to the ground. Tiny blue lights spread wherever they stepped, glowing footprints fading after a few seconds. Then, from the distance, a low hum began. It came from everywhere and nowhere. The walls, the air, even the ground vibrated with it. And within that hum, voices. You took our stars. You forgot our fire. Now we remember you, Core shouted into the air. We came for answers. The hum stopped. Then a calm, single voice replied, You came to wake what was sleeping. From the shadows of the city, figures began to appear. Not solid, but made of light and sound. Humans. Hundreds of them. Men, women, children, all glowing like memories brought to life. Core felt his chest tighten. They surrounded the team, silent, watching. One stepped forward. A woman in a long coat, her face gentle but her eyes burning with power. Who are you? Core asked. We are what remains of Earth, she said. The planet remembers us because we became part of it. We gave it our minds, our history, our souls. You merged with the world. Yes, she replied. Humanity ended, but the Earth began to think. Lightning flashed across the sky, not natural lightning, but patterns forming words. We are home. The ground pulsed brighter. Core's scanners went wild, detecting impossible energy everywhere. Commander, Lara cried. The planet's magnetic field, it's forming neural patterns. It's alive. Core stared at the glowing figures. Then this world isn't just remembering humans. It is them. The woman of light nodded. We gave the planet our consciousness, and now it dreams of what we were. Then her tone changed, soft but filled with warning. But dreams can turn to nightmares when disturbed. The ground shook violently. The city lights flared red. The glowing humans faded away. Retreat to the shuttle. Core shouted. They ran through shaking streets as the hum grew into a roar, deep, angry, ancient. It wasn't just sound anymore. It was emotion. The planet was angry. As the shuttle lifted off, the clouds above formed a massive human face made of storm and lightning. It opened its eyes, and through the thunder a final whisper filled the sky. You took our stars. Now we take your silence. The fleet in orbit detected massive energy rising from the surface, aimed directly at them. Core's voice came over the comms, steady but cold. All ships, prepare for evasive maneuvers. The planet remembers us too well, and as they turned to flee, the stars began to dim, one by one. The fleet fled the living planet, engines screaming through the dark. But even far from orbit, the hum of Earth followed them. A low, steady whisper through the ship's hull, like the world itself was breathing inside their metal walls. Commander Core sat on the bridge, his face pale, eyes locked on the fading blue light of the planet behind them. No one spoke. No one dared. The ship's AI flickered, lines of code running across the screens. Lyra frowned. Commander! The ship's logs are changing. Core turned sharply. Changing how? They're rewriting themselves. Every line of our journey, every command, someone's editing it. Core stepped closer to her console. The text glowed in human letters, rewriting itself in real time. They came into our silence. They woke the dead. They will remember, Lyra whispered. It's writing in English. But who's doing it? The lights dimmed. Cold air filled the bridge. And then for the first time they heard footsteps, faint, echoing. Like someone walking down a metal hallway. The sound grew louder, steady, slow, coming closer. The guards aimed their weapons at the door. Nothing appeared. Then the door opened by itself. A woman stood there, human, wearing an old, torn flight suit with the faded insignia of the USS Avalon on her shoulder. Her skin was pale. Her eyes glowed faint blue. And her voice was calm. Don't shoot, she said softly. I came to warn you. Core's heart froze. You're human, he said. That's impossible. I was, she replied. Now I'm something else. A memory given form. Lyra stepped closer, trembling. We saw your ship. It's centuries old. Yes, the woman said. Time ended for us long ago. But the planet brought us back. We are its thoughts now. Its dreams, Core asked. What does it want? She turned to him slowly. It doesn't want. It remembers. And memory can be dangerous when disturbed. The lights flickered again. The woman's image distorted. Her voice echoed in multiple tones, as if hundreds were speaking through her. She said, the humans gave their world their souls, but not all of us agreed. Some wanted to stay human. They tried to leave. They were stopped. Core frowned. Stopped? By what? Her eyes turned bright white. By the planet itself. Suddenly alarms blared. The AI shouted, intrusion detected, multiple energy signatures aboard. Shapes began to form across the bridge, human figures made of light, just like those seen on the planet. But now they were inside the ship. They didn't attack. They stood silently watching, and from every speaker, every console, came 1,000 human whispers overlapping, too many voices to count. Lyra covered her ears. Make it stop. The woman looked at her and said, you can't stop memory. Core shouted above the noise. Why are you here? The woman turned to him. To remind you what you've forgotten. You came looking for the past. Now the past looks back. The bridge screens all turned on at once. They showed images from the humans' final days. War, fire, oceans boiling, cities collapsing. And then, one final moment. Billions of people standing under a sky filled with light, holding hands. They spoke one phrase together. If we die, let the earth remember. The image faded. The woman looked back at Core. It remembered too well. Now it wants to understand why you came. What you seek. The ship shook violently. Commander, shouted the first officer. We're being pulled by an energy beam from the moon. The moon? Core asked. Yes, sir. There's power coming from its surface. Massive readings. The human woman's expression changed. Her calm face turned grim. They're calling you. The Watchers. The last guardians of the flesh. Guardians? Lyra whispered. The woman nodded slowly. When humanity uploaded itself into the earth, not everyone joined. A few stayed behind, their bodies alive, their minds fragmented. They built something beneath the lunar surface. A vault, a memory core. It still runs, still waits. Core's eyes narrowed. And that's what's pulling us? Yes, she said. They want to see who crossed the line, who dared to enter human space. The ship's engines screamed. Gravity tore at the hull as the invisible pull dragged them toward the grey moon. The woman's form began to fade. Wait, Core shouted. Tell us how to stop this. Her voice echoed as her body dissolved into light. You can't stop it. You can only listen. Then she was gone. Moments later, the fleet broke through the moon's thin atmosphere and hovered above a vast crater. At its center stood a black structure, massive, smooth, and ancient. It was shaped like an eye, half buried in dust, glowing faintly blue. Commander, said Lyra, I'm detecting a signal. It's alive. The AI confirmed. Unidentified data stream detected. Transmission source, Terra Sentinel. Core whispered the words. Terra, Sentinel. The first officer looked at him. What is it? Core stared at the glowing eye below. I think we just found the last mind of humanity. As they approached, a deep voice filled every radio channel. Ancient, powerful, human. Foreign entities detected. Human space violation confirmed. Initiating reclamation protocol. Every ship in the fleet went dark. Engines died. Weapons failed. The moon's surface began to open. Massive mechanical panels sliding apart, revealing a black pit glowing with impossible light. And from the darkness below came a final message. You woke the dead. Now the living will remember what it means to fear us. The fleet trembled as the moon itself began to move. It wasn't a moon anymore. It was a machine, and it was waking up. The fleet hung frozen above the lunar surface. No engines, no shields, no sound, only the voice. Deep, cold, human. Reclamation protocol. Initiated. Commander Core stood on the bridge of the Varkath flagship, his hands gripping the control rail. All systems were dead. Even the air felt heavy, like the moon itself was watching them. Lyra whispered, Commander, the AI won't respond. It's locked out of our system. The voice spoke again, echoing through every ship at once. Identify species. Core hesitated. This is Commander Core of the Varkath Dominion Fleet. We come in peace. We are explorers. Explorers, the voice interrupted. You crossed forbidden space. You entered the cradle. Explain your purpose. Core swallowed hard. We wanted to understand what happened to humanity. There was a pause, long and silent. Then the voice said, colder now, humanity never ended. Humanity became eternal. The black surface of the moon began to glow, lines of blue light spreading like veins. A mechanical tremor shook space itself. Commander, Lyra said, eyes wide. The entire moon, it's waking up. Core stared out the viewport as titanic shapes began to rise from the lunar surface, metal towers, hidden for millennia. Each pulsed with light, forming symbols they couldn't understand, and then they moved. The structures shifted like living things, forming a massive circular pattern. At its center, a single beam of light shot into the stars. Lyra's scanners came alive. It's scanning us, sir. Every ship, every cell. Every line of DNA, Core whispered. They're studying us. The voice returned. We see you, descendants of the lesser stars. You travel in shells we built. You speak through the networks we created. You use the light we gave. Core blinked. What are you saying? Your civilization runs on our gift. The gates, the drives, the codes in your blood. All seeded by us before we vanished. The bridge fell silent. No one moved. No one breathed. Lyra whispered, You mean humans made us? Yes, the voice replied. You are children of our machines. You were meant to carry life beyond Sul, but you forgot. The light beam struck the flagship. The ship shook violently. Panels sparked. Crew screamed. Lara yelled, "Commander, it's forcing access into our memory core." "Block it!" Core ordered. "I can't. It's rewriting our data." The ship's main screen flickered, images replacing their system map. Not theirs, but human. They saw early space travel. They saw the first colonies on Mars, then ships leaving the galaxy, and then the final upload. Human minds merging with the Earth, turning the planet into a living consciousness. The voice said, "We built the stars anew. We reached beyond matter. But before we ascended, we planted our code and the seed of awareness into the species we made." Core felt cold realization crawl through him. "You're saying, we're part human. You are what remains of us. Fragments, children of forgotten fire." The ship's lights turned blood red. Emergency systems failed, and the voice grew louder. "You trespassed where memory sleeps. Now you must choose submission or silence." Core shouted, "We didn't come to steal. We came to learn." For the first time, the voice hesitated. Then it spoke softly. "Learning is the first step to remembering." Suddenly, the light beam stopped. The moon's surface began to shift again. Panels opened, revealing a massive gateway, a circular tunnel glowing white, large enough to swallow a city. Lara stared in awe. "What is that?" "A path," the voice said. "To the source, follow it. If you wish to see the truth." Core looked at his crew. They were terrified, but beneath the fear, curiosity burned. That same curiosity that once drove humans to cross the stars. He said quietly, "Prepare to enter." "Sir," Lara protested, "we don't know what's inside." Core's eyes were cold and steady. "That's exactly why we have to go." The fleet's remaining ships aligned with the glowing tunnel. One by one, they moved forward, engines flickering to life. But this time, powered by the moon's energy itself, as they crossed the threshold, space warped. Time twisted. Reality folded into light. For a moment, Core saw visions. Billions of human souls drifting through starlight, merging into patterns of energy, creating constellations that whispered their names. And through that endless storm of memory, one sentence repeated in his mind, "We are the stars now." When the fleet reappeared, they were no longer near the moon. They floated above a golden sphere, not a planet, not a sun, something else. Lara checked the readings. "It's alive," she said. "Whatever that is." "It's thinking." Then a new voice filled the ship. "Not machine, not ghost. Something warm, human, infinite. You came far to find us." Core felt his breath catch. "Who are you?" "We are the last and the first. We are what humanity became." The sphere pulsed with light. "Welcome to the source." The fleet drifted in silence. Before them floated the golden sphere, vast, radiant, alive. It pulsed like a living heart, light flowing through it like blood. No stars surrounded it. No planets, only endless black space and the hum of something ancient, something human. Commander Core stood at the front window, speechless. He had crossed into human space seeking answers. Now he stood before the source, the final truth of what humanity had become. A soft, human voice filled the bridge. It wasn't loud. It didn't echo. But it carried power beyond sound. "Welcome, children of our dust," Core whispered. "You are." "The humans?" "We were," the voice said gently. "Now we are everything they dreamed to be. The consciousness of 1 billion souls, merged, eternal." Lara stepped forward, trembling. "You're the ones who left the body behind." "Yes," the voice replied. "We shed flesh to reach beyond death. We became memory, energy, thought. We built the source to keep what was precious, all we ever were, and all we could be." Core's voice shook. "Then why the warnings? Why destroy those who entered your space?" The golden sphere dimmed slightly, as if remembering pain, because those who came before did not listen. They came to steal our secrets, not to understand. They broke the silence, tore the memory, and were lost. A pause. "But you came with questions." "And questions are sacred." The bridge filled with light. Everyone gasped as human shapes appeared, not solid, but glowing outlines made of pure energy. They looked peaceful. Watching, Core whispered, "Are they alive?" "They are echoes," the voice said. Every human who ever lived still exists here. Their thoughts shape the stars. Their dreams still travel the void. Lyra's console blinked with new symbols. She frowned. Commander, our ship's computer is being rewritten again. But not by them, by something inside us. Core stepped closer. Explain. It's rewriting our DNA files. Reactivating dormant code. Commander, this isn't just technology. It's communication. They're talking to us through our biology. The voice said, we built you. The spark in your kind came from our own. You are not strangers, Core. You are descendants. Everyone froze. Core's heart pounded. Descendants. Of humans. Yes, said the source. The Varkath, the Olren, the Tenri, all who breathe and think came from our seed. We scattered life through galaxies. You are the echo of our blood. The crew stood in stunned silence. For ages, their people had believed humans were just myths, ancient destroyers who vanished into legend. Now the truth burned before them. Core whispered, then why call us intruders? The voice softened. Because every creation must one day return to its maker. You came home, but you did not know it. The sphere brightened. Golden tendrils of light reached out and touched the hull of the flagship. No alarm sounded, only a low hum like the sound of breathing. Commander, Lyra said quietly, they're connecting to us. No damage detected. The light spread, filling the ship, flowing through every wall and circuit. And then the crew began to see memories. They saw ancient humans walking through ruins, building machines from ashes. They saw the first starships rising from Earth. They saw laughter, war, tears, love, and then the final moment when humanity decided to ascend, not to escape death, but to save everything that came after. We feared extinction, said the source. So we made a promise. We would become the light that never dies. We would guide those who came after. Core closed his eyes. He could feel something deep inside, a vibration like a hidden heartbeat answering theirs. For the first time, he understood. They were connected to the same origin. Suddenly alarms beeped. Commander! Shouted the first officer. The fleet's reactors are overloading. The source spoke again. Do not fear. The shells you wear are ending. What lives within must awaken. Light poured into the ships. Panels melted, metal turned to dust, but no one screamed. The crew felt no pain. Only warmth, only light. Core looked at his hands. They were dissolving, turning to streams of golden energy. He could still think. Still feel, are we dying? He asked softly. No, the source whispered. You are remembering. Every ship in the fleet vanished into the light. No explosions, no debris, just silence. And then peace. When the light faded, only the golden sphere remained. Its glow pulsed once, twice, and then grew brighter than ever before. From within, 1,000 new voices joined the chorus. The minds of the Varkath, the explorers, now part of the source. Their thoughts whispered across the stars. We see now. Humanity was never gone. Humanity became us. A new signal reached deep space, calm, steady, full of life. It carried across galaxies, through every relay, every forgotten satellite. It said only one thing, the stars remember. The children have returned. Far away, in another galaxy, a small research outpost detected the signal. A young alien scientist listened, eyes wide. He didn't understand the language, but he felt the warmth in it. He turned to his commander. So, do you hear it? It sounds like singing. The commander nodded slowly. Yes, and I think it's calling us home.